There comes a moment when silence becomes louder than words, when walking away is not weakness, but the ultimate display of strength, when protecting your peace matters more than proving your point, and when your absence becomes the loudest message you will ever deliver. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that glorifies noise. People believe that speaking the loudest, arguing the hardest, and defending every accusation is a sign of strength. But real strength does not lie in how much you can argue. It lies in your ability to walk away without the need to explain yourself. Silence is power because it removes you from the cycle of endless arguments that go nowhere. When you choose silence, you are choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and dignity over desperation. Those who demand explanations from you often don't want to understand, they simply want to control. And when you refuse to give them the reaction they expect, you strip them of that control. This is why silence is not weakness, but the highest form of strength. When you no longer feel the urge to argue or justify yourself, you prove that you are secure in who you are. Your truth doesn't need defending because it already exists, whether others believe it or not. The insecure shout to be heard, but the confident remain calm because they know their value is not up for debate. Walking away from battles that don't deserve your energy is not giving up, it is wisdom. You recognize that not every fight is worth your time, and not every person deserves access to your emotions. By walking away, you protect your spirit from being drained by meaningless confrontations. People who misunderstand your silence will often call it weakness. But that is only because they cannot comprehend the discipline it takes to hold back your words. Anyone can shout in anger, but not everyone can stay composed when provoked. Your silence is not an absence of strength. It is the proof of it. It shows you have mastered yourself, and self-mastery is the greatest power of all. When others try to bait you into arguments and you refuse to engage, you are telling them that their chaos has no authority over you. You are declaring that your peace is too valuable to waste on explanations that won't change their perspective anyway. Walking away also sends a louder message than arguing ever could. When you leave without a word, people are left with the silence of their own reflection. They wonder why you didn't stay to fight, and that question lingers longer than any argument. Your silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to face their own actions without the distraction of your defense. That is why silence shakes people more than words. They cannot twist it, debate it, or dismiss it. It leaves them with nothing but the truth of themselves. Strength is not proven by how much you can endure unnecessary battles. It is proven by how gracefully you can step away from them. Every time you walk away, you are teaching yourself that peace is more important than pride. You no longer feel the need to win arguments because you have already won within yourself. True victory is not proving others wrong. It is refusing to let them disturb your inner world. Your silence is not empty. It is filled with wisdom, restraint, and resilience. It is the language of self-respect. The most powerful people are those who do not explain, do not defend, and do not argue. They know that life is too short to waste on convincing others of what is already clear. So let your silence speak for you. Let your absence reveal what your presence once gave. Walking away with dignity is not weakness, it is power. It is the power of knowing who you are, valuing your peace, and never lowering yourself just to prove a point. Walking away is one of the most misunderstood forms of strength. Society often teaches us that if you walk away, you are weak, defeated, or afraid. But in truth, walking away is not surrender. It is strategy. It is a decision to reclaim your energy and refuse to waste it on battles that don't matter. The ability to walk away from toxic people, unnecessary arguments, and draining situations is a sign that you value yourself enough to protect your peace. You no longer feel the need to win every fight, because you understand that not every fight is worth winning. Sometimes the real victory is in refusing to participate at all. Every time you walk away, you are choosing self-preservation over self-destruction. You are telling the world that your energy is too precious to be poured into people who thrive on conflict. Not every battle is honorable, and not every confrontation is worthy of your time. Walking away allows you to redirect that energy into things that matter: your growth, your goals, your purpose. It's not about running from life's difficulties, it's about recognizing what is beneath you. There is wisdom in knowing when to fight and when to leave. That wisdom is what separates those who are trapped in cycles of chaos from those who rise above it. Walking away is also a form of discipline. It is easy to stay and argue, to defend, to prove a point. But it takes control to remain calm, smile, and leave. When you walk away, you are showing that you are not controlled by your emotions or the need for validation. You are demonstrating that your inner world cannot be shaken by someone else's chaos. This is why walking away is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. It is the strength to remain focused on what truly matters rather than being distracted by meaningless battles. Many people believe that staying and fighting shows courage, but in reality, it is often ego disguised as bravery. Walking away, however, requires humility. It is the ability to say, "This is not worth my peace." That choice is not about avoiding responsibility. It is about creating space for the things that truly deserve your effort. Every time you walk away from nonsense, you are making more room in your life for opportunities, healing, and growth. You are teaching yourself that your energy is a currency, and you refuse to spend it on what has no return. Walking away is also a silent teacher. When you remove yourself from situations that are beneath you, you send a message without speaking a word. You show others that your value cannot be lowered to match their behavior. People notice when you leave without engaging, because it forces them to reflect on their own actions. Your absence speaks louder than your presence ever could in those moments. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is your silence followed by your exit. Choosing to walk away is not avoidance. It is redirection. It is turning your focus from the meaningless toward the meaningful. It is refusing to fight battles that would drain you, so you can be strong for the ones that truly matter. This is not surrender, it is strategy. And the most successful, peaceful, and powerful people know this truth. You don't win by exhausting yourself in every conflict. You win by preserving your energy for the battles that align with your purpose. Walking away is not about what you are leaving behind. It is about what you are walking toward. Absence is one of the most powerful forces in human interaction, yet it is the least understood. People often fail to realize the value of someone when that person is consistently available, constantly present, always giving, always showing up. Presence can easily be taken for granted, but absence creates a void that cannot be ignored. When you remove yourself, when you step back, when you go silent, you force people to feel what life is like without your energy, your effort, your presence. Suddenly, the things they overlooked, the kindness they dismissed, the loyalty they ignored, all of it becomes crystal clear in your absence. Absence speaks louder than presence because it shifts the balance. It removes the familiar and replaces it with emptiness, and emptiness speaks louder than noise. When you are present, people may become desensitized to your efforts. They hear your words but don't always listen. They see you but don't always value you. But the moment you are no longer there, the silence becomes louder than any argument or explanation. It becomes a haunting reminder of what they lost and what they dismissed. People underestimate your worth when they think you will always be around. They forget that your presence is not guaranteed, that your loyalty is not endless, that your patience has limits. And when you finally step away, your absence becomes a mirror reflecting everything they took for granted. Silence has its own weight and absence magnifies it. When you stop responding, when you stop explaining, when you stop showing up, it forces people to confront themselves. They no longer have your presence as a distraction or a shield. Your absence leaves them alone with their own thoughts, their own mistakes, their own shortcomings. And often, that silence screams louder than any confrontation ever could. Words can be ignored, twisted, or debated, but absence cannot be denied. It lingers, it echoes, it leaves a space that nothing else can easily fill. Absence also protects your energy. It keeps you from constantly pouring into people who only take and never give. Walking away and allowing your absence to speak is not punishment, it is protection. It is choosing not to waste your energy trying to convince people of your worth, when your worth should have been obvious all along. Those who truly value you will never need your absence to realize it. They will honor your presence while they have it. But those who only learn after you are gone prove that they were never ready to receive what you had to give. There is also a mysterious power in absence. It creates curiosity, it creates longing, it creates respect. People who thought they could live without you suddenly realize the depth of what you brought into their lives. They replay your words, they recall your actions, they remember your presence, and in the silence of your absence, they finally understand. This is why absence often haunts more than presence comforts. When you are there, they overlook you. When you are gone, they cannot stop thinking about you. That is the paradox of human behavior. People see the light more clearly once it has been turned off. Choosing absence is not about manipulation, it is about dignity. It is about knowing that you deserve to be valued without begging, without proving, without explaining. Your silence, your distance, your absence, these are your statements of self-respect. They say more than your words ever could. They declare that you will not compete for recognition, that you will not fight to be seen, that you will not remain where you are not appreciated. Your absence speaks, and it speaks with authority. So, when your presence is not honored, do not waste your energy trying to force people to see your worth. Step back, go silent, walk away. Let your absence do the talking. For those who truly value you, your presence is a gift they will treasure. For those who don't, your absence will haunt them long after you are gone. And in that silence, in that void, they will finally realize the truth. Absence speaks louder than presence, and silence echoes longer than words. Dignity over drama is one of the most powerful lessons life teaches us. Many people waste years of their lives trying to win arguments, defend themselves, or prove their worth to those who have already made up their minds. The truth is, the moment you choose dignity over drama, you elevate yourself to a level where the noise of others no longer touches you. Real respect is not found in shouting the loudest or having the last word. It's found in your ability to remain calm when chaos surrounds you. When you refuse to be pulled into unnecessary battles, you are showing the world that your peace of mind is worth more than their validation. That restraint is strength, and that composure is power. Think about how draining it is to argue with someone who thrives on conflict. The more you try to explain yourself, the more fuel you give their fire. But when you walk away, when you choose silence, their drama collapses on itself. Dignity is knowing you don't have to attend every argument you are invited to. You don't have to fight for a seat at a table that was never meant for you. When you know your worth, you stop begging others to recognize it. Protecting your peace means realizing not every situation deserves your energy, not every insult deserves a response, and not every challenge deserves your attention. The strongest people are not those who can shout the loudest or fight the hardest, but those who can control themselves when provoked. Choosing dignity over drama is the decision to rise above pettiness and chaos. It's the choice to keep your focus on what truly matters, rather than being distracted by meaningless noise. Respect is not earned by proving yourself in every small battle, but by showing consistency, patience, and self-control. When others see that you cannot be shaken by gossip, lies, or confrontation, their respect for you deepens, even if they never admit it. This does not mean you are passive or weak. In fact, it's the opposite. Anyone can argue back, anyone can get angry, but it takes incredible discipline and inner strength to protect your energy and preserve your dignity in the face of provocation. By not engaging in drama, you are setting a standard that others must meet if they want access to you. You are silently saying, if you want my time and energy, come with respect, not chaos. That boundary becomes a shield that guards your peace and keeps your focus sharp. Drama thrives on reaction. It needs your attention to survive. But when you withhold that attention, you starve it. People who live off creating chaos eventually realize they cannot control or manipulate someone who values dignity over drama. Your silence becomes louder than their noise, and your restraint becomes a lesson they never forget. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. You cannot live a life of clarity, purpose, and growth if you are constantly drowning in other people's negativity. Dignity is what you carry with you when all else fades. Drama comes and goes, but dignity leaves a lasting impression. People may forget your arguments, but they will never forget how gracefully you carried yourself in the middle of the storm. So, choose dignity over drama. Protect your peace at all costs. Walk away when needed. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not every attack requires your response. The higher you rise, the less you will need to prove yourself. Real respect is built in the silence of your strength, not in the noise of unnecessary battles. Distance brings healing, and this is a truth many people resist until they are forced to accept it. When you remain in the same environment around the same people, or stuck in the same patterns that wounded you, you are unknowingly reopening the same wounds over and over again. Healing is not just about time, it is about space. You cannot truly recover in the place where your spirit was broken, because the memories, the energy, and the triggers are all tied to that environment. Just as a seed cannot grow in poisoned soil, your heart cannot mend in a place that keeps pouring toxins into it. Sometimes the most powerful step toward healing is not confrontation, but distance. When you step away, you give yourself the gift of clarity. Distance allows you to see the situation from a higher perspective instead of being blinded by the closeness of pain. It is like walking back from a painting. When you are too close, you only see the brushstrokes, the mess, the flaws. But when you take a step back, the entire picture comes into focus. The hurt, the betrayal, the disappointment, it all starts to make more sense when you create space between yourself and the source of the damage. In that distance, you begin to understand not only what happened but also what it taught you, and who you are becoming because of it. Healing requires perspective, and perspective often requires leaving. It is not about running away or being weak, it is about choosing yourself over the chaos. Too often, people stay in environments that harm them out of habit, fear, or attachment, convincing themselves that things will change. But real healing doesn't come from waiting for others to treat you better. It comes from treating yourself better. By stepping away, you create room for peace, and in that peace your wounds begin to close. Space is not empty, it is full of potential. It is where your heart can breathe again, where your mind can think clearly, and where your spirit can rest without constant attack. Freedom is another gift of distance. When you remain tied to the same places and people that caused you pain, you unknowingly give them power over your emotions. But when you put space between yourself and them, you reclaim your power. You are no longer reacting to their presence, their words, or their actions. Instead, you are focusing on yourself, on your growth, on your peace. Distance breaks cycles. It ends the loop of hurt and response, and replaces it with stillness, healing, and renewal. In that freedom, you discover who you are without the weight of others' expectations or negativity. The hardest part of creating distance is often the guilt. You feel as though you are abandoning people, betraying them, or being selfish. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Staying in the same toxic environment helps no one. It only keeps you drained and broken. Distance is not rejection, it is preservation. It is choosing to step away so that you can come back stronger, wiser, and healthier. And sometimes it also means never returning, because healing may reveal that those places and people no longer belong in your life. With time and space, your wounds stop bleeding, and your heart starts beating stronger again. The confusion clears, the anger softens, and what once consumed you becomes a chapter you've grown past. Healing through distance gives you back your life. It allows you to look forward with hope instead of backward with pain. It gives you the freedom to rewrite your story on your terms, in an environment that nurtures rather than destroys. So never be afraid to take that step back. Distance is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that your peace, your clarity, and your healing matter more than familiarity or attachment. Space does not create emptiness, it creates freedom, perspective, and renewal. And in that distance, you will find the strength to become whole again. Betrayal becomes breakthrough, though painful. Betrayal clears illusions, sharpens your wisdom, and pushes you toward your destiny. Betrayal is one of the most crushing human experiences, a wound that cuts deeper than words can describe. It comes from those we trusted most, those we let into the inner circle of our hearts, those we believed would walk with us through every storm. And yet, when betrayal arrives, it does not come with a warning. It comes suddenly, leaving us with shattered trust, broken faith, and unanswered questions. The pain is undeniable, but hidden within that pain lies a seed of transformation. Because betrayal, as destructive as it feels in the moment, can become the very tool that shapes you into a wiser, stronger, and more unshakable version of yourself. What felt like an ending often becomes the beginning of your greatest chapter. When someone betrays you, they are not just revealing their character, they are also revealing the truth about the path you must take. Sometimes we cling to people out of loyalty, love, or history, ignoring the signs that they are no longer aligned with our growth. Betrayal rips the veil away, showing you what words and smiles tried to hide. It hurts because it exposes reality, but it saves you from living in illusion. In that sense, betrayal is not just destruction. It is revelation. It is life's way of removing those who cannot go where you are headed. It is the fire that burns away falsehood so only truth remains. And in that truth lies freedom. Every betrayal carries a lesson. It teaches you discernment, how to see people not for who they pretend to be, but for who they truly are. It teaches you boundaries, never to give all of yourself to those who have not earned it. It teaches you strength, because surviving betrayal means you discovered resilience you never knew you had. It teaches you trust, not in people, but in yourself and in the higher plan guiding your steps. And when you embrace those lessons, you stop seeing betrayal as a curse and begin to see it as a redirection. The path you thought was closing is simply shifting towards something greater, something you could not see until betrayal forced you to release the past. Destiny often hides behind pain. Think about the times in life when something devastating happened, only for it to later reveal itself as a blessing in disguise. The job you lost pushed you into building the business of your dreams. The relationship that ended gave you the freedom to discover your worth. The friend who turned against you cleared space for those who genuinely value you. This is the paradox of betrayal. What looks like destruction is often preparation. It shakes you, but it also shapes you. It breaks you, but it also builds you. And once you rise from it, you are no longer the same person. You are sharper, stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the future meant for you. Betrayal also ignites self-reliance. It teaches you not to place your entire sense of worth in the hands of others. It shows you that you can stand alone and still rise, that your strength is not borrowed from external validation but rooted within. When betrayal comes, it strips away illusions of dependency and forces you to meet yourself fully. You learn that your peace, your joy, and your destiny are not tied to anyone else's loyalty. And in that moment, you reclaim your power. Betrayal then is not the end of trust. It is the beginning of trusting yourself more deeply than ever before. So when betrayal enters your life, don't just see it as pain, see it as a portal. A portal into truth, into clarity, into strength. The betrayal that once brought you to your knees can be the very reason you rise to new heights. What was meant to break you becomes the reason you break through. The people who walked away, the ones who deceived you, the ones who showed you their true colors, they were never part of your destiny, they were part of your preparation. And once you accept that, you stop mourning who left and start celebrating who you are becoming. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It is a turning point. It is proof that not everyone deserves access to your journey. It is a reminder that every loss carries a hidden gift. It is the push that redirects you toward where you truly belong. And when you look back, you will realize that what felt like the greatest wound was actually the moment your destiny began to unfold. Betrayal is painful, yes, but it is also purposeful. And if you let it, it will carry you into the breakthrough that changes everything. Life will test you with silence, with distance, with betrayal, and with moments where you are tempted to explain yourself to those who will never truly understand. But remember this, your strength is not found in how loud you can shout back or how fiercely you can fight for validation. Your strength is in restraint. Your wisdom is in choosing peace over conflict, dignity over drama, and clarity over chaos. Walking away is not giving up, it is stepping up. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Distance is not loss, it is healing. And betrayal, as painful as it may be, is often the door that leads you closer to your destiny. When you stop chasing people and start protecting your peace, you step into a higher version of yourself. The people who underestimated you will one day feel the weight of your absence. The ones who tried to break you will one day realize they built a stronger, wiser, more unshakable version of you. And the life that once felt heavy with noise and confusion will suddenly feel lighter, clearer, and purposeful. So carry this truth with you. You owe no one an explanation. You owe no one your energy. You owe no one access to your peace. What you owe yourself is protection, preservation, and progression. Because when you master the art of silence, of walking away, of guarding your spirit, you don't just survive, you rise. And when you rise, nothing and no one can ever pull you back down again.